Welcome everyone to Film Form, where we analyze films on the basis of their aesthetic value. Today, the film that I'm going to talk to you about is a 1976 film, directed by the legendary Sidney Lumet. You know Sidney Lumet is the guy who is most famous for 12 Angry Men. This film is called Network. I watched it I think 2 weeks ago and I was blown by it. This film is a satirical dark comedy. Now, what is it about? It's mostly about, as you can understand from the word dark comedy and satire. This takes a very real issue and then escalates them to such a degree that you find the real issue to be really humorous. This film starts with a network executive. Okay, his name is Howard Beale. Howard Beale, played by the fabulous Peter Finch. He is a network reporter, right? He is like, he goes on the news prime time and he says the news. Now, one day he realizes that he's about to be fired. This is the last week of his show, and when this week commences, he's going to be fired. So what he does is he goes on live, and just before his segment is about to finish, he says on live television that goodbye everyone, next time I'm going to kill myself. So this, which is thought to be a very controversial move, somehow turns the entire network show into an overnight phenomenon. Everybody is curious about this person, Howard Beale, and his claim that he is going to kill himself on his last night on air. Now, there are a lot of reactions to this. One comes by our second protagonist, played by Faye Dunaway. She is called Diana. Diana is a very shrewd network executive, right? And she feels that there is no way that she can, let Howard Beale go after saying this without milking every ounce of it. So what she does is she goes to the network, all the executives, the CEO, the CFO, and she convinces them to give Howard his own primetime segment after he is let go. Everybody is puzzled because this is a madman who just said on live television that he is going to commit suicide, and Diana, who is the executive, wants to give him his own show. Everything is bonkers here. There are two huge factions within the network who have contrasting views on this. There is, on one side we have William Holden, who was a longtime friend of Howard Beale, and he feels that the network is going to now exploit something which is obviously a mental illness that Howard Beale has. They are giving Howard Beale screen time to talk about his mental breakdown. And the more they exploit it, the more Howard starts believing it for himself. He thinks that he is the messenger of God. At night, while he's asleep, he suddenly wakes up and he feels as if he is getting some kind of divine communication, which we all know is kind of the first sign of schizophrenia anyway. So Howard Beale, he thinks that he has so much to offer to the world, right? He's the Messiah and he needs to open their eyes. So he agrees to that network show where he delivers a beautiful monologue, right? And it's quite telling that a madman would talk more sense in this world than actual normal people. In this film, the normal people are behaving like madmen. They're enabling a person who clearly is going through a mental breakdown. They're enabling him and putting him on camera to, get money from him to, milk every ounce of TRP that they can get from him. And on the other hand is Howard Beale, who only wants to spread the, message of God. It's not even like that. He's not even a spiritually awakened guy, okay? He believes that he gets messages from God. However, what he does is that he only talks about things that are very natural to us. He tells us that we are trapped in our living rooms with our TV and our radio, and we just hope that the outside world that we have created to be such a nuisance. We are afraid to go outside, right? We are all cooped up in our living rooms because we think it's safe, that they will leave you alone at least in your house and keep you safe. But that is also a delusion. Freedom, which can be taken away at any time, is not really freedom, is it? It's just a privilege that you have gained for now. And it can be taken away at any time. And this is the kind of thing that Howard Beale, a supposed madman, talks about. Whereas the normal people talks about how the show must go on and how Howard Beale must make more money and how TRPs and numbers and everything, right? So that's what Howard Beale says, right? It's like everyone everywhere is going crazy. Now, how the film ends? The film ends when Howard Beale gets, he touches higher than his reach, right? Higher than his payroll. He goes on television and talks about how his network has a deal with the Saudi Arabs, and the Saudi Arabians are using this network TV to put their influence into the American way of life and everything. When he does this, he said all this because he thinks it's a message from God and he needs to deliver it. But funny thing is, what he's saying is actually true. His mad ramblings turn out to be true. So when that happens, he is called by the CEO of the network executive, right? And there's this beautiful scene where the network executive berates him for it, and it's almost as, it's almost as if God has come down to berate him for his mistakes. And he goes on a tirade against him, telling him about the cosmic nature of globalization and industrialization, right? And how in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of industrialism and corporations, there is no such thing as states or nations. Saudi Arabia, USA does not make any difference. What makes a difference is the money that comes through these corporations. And the CEO, in a very divine manner, right? Because if you see that scene, it looks like the CEO is giving him a divine dictate and tells him to use his evangelical powers, right? Howard Beale by now is known as the mad prophet of television. So you can see that he is starting to have a cult following. He is starting to have rabid followers, right? Because he himself is a rabid person, so his followers are also going to be like that. And what we see is that the CEO approves of it. The CEO approves of the fact that Howard Beale, a deranged person, a person that is unstable, is garnering more unstable followers and raking in money for that network. For some reason, the CEO is very happy with it. However, the people below him do not know of this cosmic nature of the network industry. They think that Howard Beale, being so upfront on the television, on air, is going to spell doom for them. So they plot a conspiracy to remove him and find more TRP for the network. So what do? You remember Diane, the shrewd woman who was exploiting Beale at the beginning? When interests on Beale starts to wane for her, she shifts her attention towards a group of black African American nationalists who are akin to the Black Panthers. We are not given the name the Black Panther. We are given the name the Communist Party of USA, where she uses their influence and their street cred to make a new show with a more authentic and real world violence oriented show, right? And she believes what is a better way to start this show but to assassinate Howard Beale on live television. So on his last day, the Howard Beale show is converted into the Mao Zedong hour. How? When the Mao Zedong gang shoots Howard Beale on live television. And this is how the entire story ends. Not with any kind of retribution or any kind of closure, right? The thing is that Howard Beale, unstable man, is exploited by the network and in turn gives rise to more unstable people who follow Howard Beale, and the only way they can then find to put an end to this is by getting him killed on live television by a guerrilla group. So the whole thing is bonkers, the whole thing is very crazy. However, that is the nature of satire. In a satire, you use a concept that is very common to you and you escalate it to such a level that has not been thought of before. And that is what satire is. You show how people in power can actually abuse the system if they were so inclined, right? And network is all about abuse of power. The power that the fourth pillar of our democracy, that is press, has. This power can be used for good, like Howard Beale tried, or this can be used as Diane tried. Finally, it is up to us how we use our power. Thank you. This is Anshuman signing off.